All right, let's bring this guy back. This is such a great guest. Next guest is a retired United States Navy SEAL and former Deputy Commander of the United States Central Command, CENTCOM. Back to give us the latest on Iran is Vice Admiral Robert Harward. Admiral, we understand you're all over the Middle East. You're in Abu Dhabi, you're in the UAE. So from the ground perspective right there, I want to get into all the things. There's so much news that's flying around the last 24 hours. By the way, oil has been up as $126 a barrel, as low as $107 a barrel in 24 hours. Sir, tell us what the feeling is, you know, boots on the ground in the Middle East, right at the Strait of Hormuz.
Do it. All these guys know that Iran and this government, the regime, have had their way with the U.S. and them for decades. And they're all fed up. They want an end to this. And this administration will do that. I have no doubt about it. They did Venezuela. They bombed and attacked Iran. They went in and recovered the pilots. If they have to put boots on the ground, they can do that. And a lot of people are talking about Kharg Island. Forget about Kharg Island. Go take Bandar Abbas, take Qeshm Island, take those islands that control the straits and the coastline. That's what the president can do, and I'm sure they're looking at that right now because we've made it very clear what we want: free flow of commerce and termination of the nuclear program. And the Iranian regime doesn't even negotiate. They don't even show up. They send a half-hearted response, but this president's not going to put up with that. They're going to capitulate, or he's going to accelerate the pressure, and that could lead to boots on the ground.
Admiral, there's so many things going on. Like I follow, it's a live ship tracker. In the last 24 hours, 18 vessels have transited the Strait of Hormuz. That's down from 140 average prior to the conflict. It's up, though, from the day before of only 7. My point is it's trickling through. One single cargo had hydrocarbons on it. It was a liquefied natural gas cargo that got through. It's on its way to Japan. And this is the reason there's so much volatility in these markets. I also saw that the Iranian people, the Iranian IRGC Navy is controlling 2/3 of the strait, where the U.S. Navy is about 1/3 of it. Why is that? If we're truly winning this, how come they have more real estate that they're controlling on the strait than we are?
Well, that's very tactical at best. But the fact that ships are flowing through that free of mines, free of ballistic missiles and drones is indicative of what others could do and are choosing not because they don't assess the risk equation to be in their table. And if the president wants to even shut that down further, again, he was establishing a kill box for maritime aircraft. He can do other things like put boots on ground to control parts like Bandar Abbas, Qeshm Islands, and all. And the fact that we've decimated so much of that and can continue to strike it in advance of a land operation, that is his option to choose. And the message that would send to the Iranian people, as the president told them, help is on the way, help is there, would change the equation also. Again, the president has been very patient. His strategy has been very sound, but he's still a lot of tools in his box, and he's up there talking. President's talking to the Secretary of War, the Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Admiral Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, about those options right now. And I'd be surprised if at some point they don't continue to ratchet up offensive operations.
Admiral, take a listen to these two comments we've heard today. Supreme Leader, again today, has said that the Islamic Republic will protect its nuclear and missile capabilities. Doesn't seem like he's willing to negotiate, but the new Ayatollah Khamenei also said he's declared in a written statement read on Iranian state television that the only place Americans belong is in the Persian Gulf, but at the bottom of the water. How is this going to play in the Oval Office or the Situation Room if we decide to go?
It's just a continuation of the rhetoric they've had for years. Nothing's changed since their inception in 1979. And for those 47 years, they've had their way with us. They were killing our guys in Iraq, attacking us in cyber, which they still are, funding surrogates who went after our people and our allies, striking not only our bases and our facilities, but our allies in the GCC, be it Bahrain, be it UAE, be it Qatar. And all of them want to see an end to that. So if they can't reach a conclusion, I'm sure the president will double down and go after what's important here, a regime or government in Iran that renounces the Islamic Revolution. And that brings an end to all their policies and programs. So I believe that will be the ultimate end state for the president. It's just when he chooses to ramp it up to that level.
Let's talk a little bit about you mentioned our allies. We had Prince Charles yesterday coming in, king, on a day where the Democrats said no kings allowed here. I digress. The Europeans weren't cooperative in this, right? And so when the UK and Spain and Australia, some of our allegedly strongest allies, say no, you can't use our not only our airspace, you can't use our strips to land your planes when you want to kind of try and take back the Strait of Hormuz. What is a signal to the Iranians that if Europe doesn't get involved on our side, do they really think they're winning it?
No, there's no way they can think they're winning it. And again, the European politics has always been problematic, and they've got Ukraine on their hands as well. But this is affecting them and will continue to affect them. So at some point, there's going to have to be an understanding of how and when they will support. So I think that's inevitable. But their politics are indicative of the broader problem they face with the Islamic Revolution and the impact it's had in their countries as well. So it's not just about oil, it's about ideology as well. And both of those items, the regime feels they can control.
There's another thing going on that we've heard of, and we have some credible sources. I have a huge connection into the oil trading industry. The biggest traders in the world, both are on the refining side, and also on the production side, and even transportation, the biggest traders. They all tell me they're very concerned about continued upside because they don't see this ending anytime soon. Do you have a timeline that you think is feasible in your mind?
Well, let's think of this more strategically. Let's think of this long term. You have the forces in place. We've already started the war with Iran. If you do not finish this with a conclusion, you're basically surrendering the Straits of Hormuz to Iran for the long term. If you reach a conclusion where they hand over their nuclear weapons, but we're paying a fee or getting their permission to go through the straits, you've basically handed them what they want, and that creates a longer term problem. So short term prices, the impact on the economy has to be considered to what happens now, but more importantly, what happens in the future. Because again, once our forces downsize, we go back to where we were in 1979, only 10,000 forces in the region, and they decide to move on the straits, then you have a much bigger problem. So yes, there's short-term pain, but you've got to understand the long-term gain of resolving this now for a long and enduring period of peace and stability and the free flow of oil through the straits. And the only way you get that, to have a government in Iran that renounces the Islamic Revolution and those policies and programs that were principle of their ideology and what they've done over the last 47 years and could do for decades to come.
Admiral, you grew up or you spent some time in Iran in your childhood. I contend that the only way this is going to end is when the Iranian people take matters in their own hands, 91 million people strong, to break the IRGC's grip, stranglehold, and frankly, the mullah faction as well. When is that? What does it take for that to happen? Because until that happens, I don't believe they'll die martyrs rather than give up if you were up to the IRGC or the mullahs.
I agree with you completely, and I'm wholeheartedly supportive of them dying in any fashion they can. And look, the Iranian people in early January took cities. They owned town, but they had nothing to do at that point. Then the IRGC just rolled in with guns and started slaughtering. And so that's why I'm a fan, and I understand the strategy of boots on the ground. You establish a beachhead in Iran, then the Iranian people believe, hey, someone's here to support us. They can help protect us against this regime. So you've got exactly right. The biggest equation in this is the Iranian people. A population of about 90 million, I'd say 70 to 80 want this regime gone, but they don't have the tools to do that. I believe boots on the ground in Iran could contribute and be that tipping point. And again, if you take remote areas, you'll start seeing the people come out in support of the troops, not fighting the troops.
Right.
So I think you're exactly right.
They need to, unfortunately, it's what you want, real change in any dictatorship. It takes the uprising of the populace, not the. They're outnumbered. They're outnumbered 40-1. There's no reason for them to continue to take it. At some point, you say, you know what, for my kids' future, my grandchildren's future, we're gonna have to risk our lives to get it. And some will die. Some will die, but they will get it. They will get changed. Sir, really appreciate you and get you back on very soon as things progress. Vice Admiral Robert Harward, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're gonna be back in just 2.5 minutes right after this break.